Oh. Wasn't ready.
Were you startled? Were you not expecting to go on air?
I was not expecting to go on air at that exact moment, but I am so happy to be on air that I don't mind at all. So welcome, everyone. You have joined Distill It, a 360-degree view of life in sports from our homes. We are very excited to be here. Even though we're not live in studio at UBN Go, we are live on UBN Go, which we're very grateful for. And we're thanking Tony, the station owner, for keeping things going during this time. Thanks, Tony, and welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I am, as I always am, joined by my co-founder of our company, Distill It, my very close friend and my cohort in lots of things that we get into, some good, some not so good, Ira Switzer. Welcome.
Hi, hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I like this. I like seeing you on the screen. I miss you.
I know, I miss you too, and I wish that we could see each other in person and give a hug, but this works.
Soon it will happen.
It will. Every other week on Thursday mornings, we come here to you to talk about our favorite topic, which is sports. We are the proud owners of the Distillery Inc., a company that works with athletes as they transition from their life in sports to their life out of sports, helping them to repurpose their athletic intelligence into a meaningful life beyond the field. And that is why we like to talk about sports with you guys every other week. As always, we try and bring on really fabulous, interesting guests to talk to. And I think today is no different. I'm going to introduce our guest in just a moment, but I want to remind you that we always love it when you guys join the conversation. So if you would like to share your questions, comments, you can do so on our Facebook page. I try and look, although it's a little bit more challenging now, I've got to figure this whole thing out. We will try and catch your comments, but also you can call in at 323-524-2599 and join the conversation. Our only guest today.
Our only guest for today.
Only guest for today is a gentleman, a true gentleman, a man that we really have enjoyed working with, talking to in the past, and he has also been on our show before. And we're very excited to welcome Craig Juda back. Welcome, Craig. Thank you so much for joining us. Craig is the proud owner of a fitness business called WOLA. Look at the swag. Look at the swag. We're all big supporters. Although Ira doesn't like the hat, I love it. And I wear it even when I'm not on air. I just want you to know.
That's right. Good trucker hat.
We wanted to bring Craig on. He's talked to us in the past about a different type of sports business and what he was doing with his family-oriented gym and how he was really very much and still is trying to attract families that want to stay healthy, be fit, work out together, and enjoy that whole experience. And since we last talked with Craig, as with many businesses that are sports related and businesses everywhere, you know, especially during this time, there's a lot of challenges. And, you know, even Ava and I as a small business, we're all kind of like reeling a little bit from what's going on. But we wanted to talk to Craig about his business in particular, because it is sports related, the challenges that he faced and still faces being in a sports related business, particularly not just only because of COVID-19, but you know, just in general, it's not always an easy business to break into, nor is it an easy business to flourish in. So we wanted to get his opinion about it, hear his story and his challenges and successes over the last few months since we last spoke with him. And we also wanted to see how he's pivoting, how is he dealing with all of this and ensuring that his business stays strong. But before we do that, as always, we like to have a little bit of a conversation about what's going on in the sports world. So we were talking for a minute before we came on air, and I said insistently that I must talk about the draft.
I knew you were going to.
Of course.
You cannot talk.
The only live sports that's happening in the world right now. So how can we not talk about the draft? We can start with something else though. I'm happy to take a second.
Let's talk draft.
Do the draft.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say, like, I was very impressed overall with how they managed it.
Yeah.
How they kind of kept it fun, kept it interesting. Like them or not, I thought that Goodell did a really good job. Yeah. I loved how he was pumping up the fans, that came. I don't know how you got to be one of those fans. I'm pissed that I didn't.
My son was very upset. He didn't know. He didn't hear how he was going to be a part of that whole thing. It was very cool. Very well done.
They were probably waiting in line for 5 or 6 hours to get there.
Yeah, in the virtual line.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really curious. There must have been some, if maybe you were on NFL Network, who knows? But
right, something.
I thought he did a really good job. So just overall, I think it was super impressive that that the organization decided to go ahead with it, decided to make it something to celebrate.
Right.
Continued to acknowledge those sports fans around the world who contribute in different ways. I loved all of the little pieces where they had the firefighters come on, or the, like all those special moments I thought was great. This is just about the broadcast. The one thing I kind of felt that they missed was some of the family shots that they were showing with, the players. Once the players heard, there seemed to be like a 5-minute lag time between when they heard and when they celebrated and when we heard and saw them celebrating.
Yeah.
It was like a little bit, you're going, come on. Sorry.
I said it was too much of a delay.
Yeah.
But, were there any shocks? Were there any shocks? Any surprises on your end?
Go ahead, Wendy.
No, go ahead, Craig.
For my Raiders, I don't know what they were thinking, but I have all faith in my new Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm assuming their draft picks and Scruggs and all these guys are ready to go. And so I was a little shocked with some of the moves, but I am not a professional picker, or I don't work for a team. So I'm hoping, knock on wood, that these guys come through for us finally.
Yeah.
For me, I think like everybody, it was a little shocking that the Packers went with a quarterback as their first pick, given that, Aaron Rodgers has come out many, many times saying that he wants to play until he's 40, and that they went so far. It's not like they're hurting. It's not like they had a bad season.
Sure.
So it was kind of, for me, that was odd. I got to be honest with you, Ara, the guy, the USC player who went in the first round kind of surprised me.
Right.
I mean, I was like, oh my God, yes. But,
I wasn't as shocked with that pick. If you know his story, you're talking about the offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's really good.
If you've seen his story and what he did for his sister and how family oriented he is, you're getting character more than anything. And his upside potential when he came into USC, as we're all USC grads, he needed to grow, and he grew tremendously. And I think that they have this young guy with Tua that's going to be there for the next, offensive lineman, last for a good amount of years, knock on wood, no injuries. But I think he's a development player where he's going to get in there and he's going to learn really quick and hopefully be good for the team.
I think he's going to be great for the team. The only surprise I had is he went in the first round.
Yeah. I think it's character, that one, more than anything, probably, or upside potential, obviously.
I like that, though. Character matters, people. Character is very important.
Totally.
True. Yeah.
Totally. Was there anything, I'm sorry, I did all the talking, anything interesting or fascinating or that you were impressed or not impressed by in the draft, Ava?
No, I mean, I wasn't really terribly shocked. Like you, I was curious to see how this whole thing was going to play out. And I thought they handled it really well. It was fun. It was engaging. It was, it was nice. It was different. Yeah. So no big surprises.
Well, let's hope that they get to play in some way, shape, or form. Let's hope that everybody gets to play in some way, shape, or form soon.
Exactly.
But here's the upside to all of it. I feel like the NFL taking a step in the direction of continuing on and doing the draft, it sparked creative thinking. They had to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So if that creative thinking continues, then I'm sure we're going to see sports back. Yeah. Maybe not the way we're used to seeing it, but I suspect that we'll be able to see it in a unique way, which that is exciting. It was interesting. They had, I don't know if any if you saw this, but ESPN broadcasted a NASCAR race, and they had the drivers driving like their video game. What's the, like, you know, the videos that they practice on.
Yeah,
sure.
So they linked them up, and it was really funny to watch
great.
them like racing, but not racing. And there was a moment at which even my son went, "Are they really racing, or is that a video game?" So it was, so I think that this whole thing is pushing all industries to be really, really creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why we wanted to talk to Craig today.
I was watching ESPN yesterday. A friend of mine were talking about it felt like the beginning of ESPN because you're watching cornhole championships.
Right.
Listen, I'm a cornhole guy. I love cornhole. And I'm like, am I really watching this? Like, these guys are good. Like, come on, you know? So, yeah.
We're developing a whole new appreciation for sports that we don't normally pay attention to.
My other favorite thing is my husband, who keeps watching, because he went to UT. He keeps watching Longhorn game, you know, the Texas games, like, you know, and I'll walk in and he's like screaming at the television, and I'm like,
you already know what happened.
I already know what happened. Like, why? He goes, well, I didn't remember this one. I'm like, I understand, but instead of screaming at the television, you could actually look up the results, and then you'll know what's going to happen.
No, but it's so much more fun to do it this way.
It's so much more fun. It cracks me up every time I walk in. He's watching another one. I'm like, when's that one from? He's like, 2013. I'm like, geez Louise.
That's awesome.
It's very funny. All right. And then we'll just do a quick plug because everybody's excited about The Last Dance. So this is the documentary about Michael Jordan's time with the Chicago Bulls, his perspective and some behind the scenes. And I think everybody is enjoying it.
Yeah. It's lots of fun to watch. And it's so much fun to see how buttons are still pushed, you know, after all these years. And it's, you know, some of the stories, I think there's new detail to it, you know, some stuff that we didn't know about. But for so many of the stories, we've known about them. We've read about these things. We've heard about them. And yet after all these years, people get so worked up reliving this stuff, you know. It's so much fun to watch.
Yep, it really is.
To know that they had all access for his final year in the 6th championship. And now, I don't know if you read the other article, that Kobe Bryant was followed up as the final year too, and so were the Los Angeles Lakers. So eventually we'll probably be seeing a Laker one of these sooner than later. But it is so fascinating to see behind the scenes. I mean, of all the stories, if you haven't watched them, you know, they build up, you know, they look at Rodman, they look at Pippen, they look at Cartwright, they look at the trades they did, and how Phil Jackson, who I think is an amazing coach, really uses a different approach than most and meshes people together. And when you believe in team, you're going to win. When you believe in press up, you're going to win.
Yeah, and I find it so interesting. I was sharing with the guys before we started the show that I was reading the article where they interviewed Isaiah Thomas after it came out that, you know, Michael Jordan called him an asshole. But the more interesting part about that article, rather than his response, was him talking about how it was fun for even him to be watching this series because, you know, even though you're in the middle of it as a player, he's on a different team.
Sure.
So he was talking about how it was fascinating to see the inside workings and behind the scenes of the Chicago Bulls because, you know, they were also looking at it from the outside, not from the inside, even though they were on the inside.
Right.
Or more inside than we are. So that was also fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. So Craig, I really want to get some good quality time with you today. I think we both want to hear, first of all, if you can share again for our audience who might not have heard before, who you are and what WOLA is, and a little bit about the story of your business in the last, let's say, 6 months, even before we were all made aware of this.
Well, so I left the family business after 20 years of trading stocks. That was we were going for 80 years as a family business. Just realized that there needed to be a change in my life, and the opportunity came up. I played college sports, I played baseball, and to work with families, kids, and individuals. And I realized there wasn't a group fitness catered for families, kids. It's always guaranteed and catered to older people, 20 and above, usually you go there. And so we opened a fitness studio, 3rd and Fairfax, for 2 years. And we did group fitness for both youth and adults. We offered high intensity interval training classes. We also offered boxing classes, family fit classes, dance classes through fitness. And it was going great. Things were going great. You do have a lot of rent. So anybody in the startup business knows rent is a very, very hard thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And you have your employees. We kept everybody on board the majority of the 2 years, which was great. And then in the last couple of months, we were in renegotiation lease talks with our landlord. And then we were making a lot of progress. And then the early stages of coronavirus hit. And then the conversation turned completely different from both our point of view and their point of view. And our hand was sort of dealt at that moment. We knew that things were not going to work out the way we anticipated them to work out. And so making the hardest decision as a business owner, as a co-business owner, is letting your employees and staff that have been with you, that are more like family, letting our community what's going to be going on. We closed our shop down we kept on going, and then the coronavirus started hitting, and we took action prior to everybody else really saying we need to shut down. We realized that we were having Clorox wipes in the room, limiting classes, offering rubber gloves for people to work out. And we sat down one day in our business meeting and just said, we need to stop. We need to stop earlier than we anticipated. It's for the health. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later is when the Mayor Garcetti announced it. Can
I stop you there? I just want to ask, I've been there too, personally, as a in a corporate setting and also as a small business. Can you share kind of what that, in a little bit more detail, what that feeling is like when you have that realization? It's like, how are we going to do this, and how do I take care of people?
Correct. My most important thought process, my wife is in the business, my business partner at the time is Leonard, and still is, just don't know where we're going, continue with it on his side, is that we had people that relied on us every single day as part-time employees. We were very catering to them. They were really family. And for us, it was like, how can we cater to them? I'll worry about myself after. And that's just the way I was raised, is you care for others and you figure yourself out after. After that happened, we let everybody know. A lot of people filed for unemployment, just like you can see. It's 25 or 26 million people now in unemployment. We're helping them through that process as much as we possibly can. We never had full-time employees. Our goal was, hey, if we need to shut down, maybe eventually one day work with you. So our goal is to keep a great rapport with everybody, be in touch with our community as much as we can. I'll let you interact after that and ask the questions of where we're going now, because we've now pivoted, and that's a whole new avenue, and you just have to learn and adapt right away. We are living in the minute, and it's either you be eaten or you go out and get your stuff. And right now I'm working every day. My wife is working every day with me, and we are continuing to build this as much as we possibly can.
So before we get to that point, because you've been in other businesses before, what are some of the challenges, just, again, trying to focus on it being a sports related business? Like you were saying, you had part-time employees, you had trainers who would come in, I assume maybe some on on a contract basis, or they weren't employees. What is that like, trying to manage? It's a fitness business. You're reliant on the number of people who are going to come in to create memberships. I know I want to add that one of Craig's missions that I found so amazing and great was he wanted to make it reasonably priced so that families anywhere could join.
Correct.
Looking in hindsight, not that you would say that's a bad decision, but how does that kind of business model also impact you?
We looked at different things. At first, we wanted to make it affordable to everybody. I always relate it to, you go to a movie now and you're spending $25 a ticket plus your food. It's an expensive time to go out. Our classes were $25 to $28 for drop-ins, and then we lowered prices per package. If you bought a 6-pack, your class would go down. If you bought a 10-pack, it would go down even further by $2. If you bought a 30-pack, it would go down by $8. We try to make things as affordable as possible. What a lot of people don't understand about small businesses is there is a lot of things behind it. There's insurance, there is rent, there is employees paying benefits. You have to look at all these things behind the scenes. You always say, oh my God, they have people in there, they're doing so well. Why aren't they making money? Well, there's all the small things. There's alarm systems, there's music, there's getting music sent in by DJs. There's small little things that add up continuously, nonstop. You know, every single towel that you have got, that you wipe off, a lavender towel, we make those, we buy those. It is a consistent spending process, and you have to learn when to limit your spending and learn how to raise your cost. We did not raise our cost that much. We felt very comfortable where we're at. We did see a dramatic downturn as coronavirus started happening. Even overseas, people were sort of talking about it, and then the talk started coming about gyms. And I understand that. You know, unfortunately, it was my business, and I'm in a situation where you don't want to be in, where you want people to come in. I think Georgia is completely irresponsible at this moment of opening up their gyms. You are sweating. When you're sweating and just, you know, and you're pushing out, you're breathing out, you're not covering your mouth. So there's little things that I understand, but we are in a new era. Peloton was in the head of the game by many, many years. There's other people that were doing it too as well. Virtual, I think virtual is here to stay 100%. I do think that you're going to see small, more limited classes like WOLA had. We capped off at 18. I think you're going to see classes, you know, 10 to 15 people in a class. And then the rest, my idea with others is to online it. So you can, you know, reserve in person when that opportunity comes, and then you can do it online as well, or you can sell your online class after. So there's always ways of looking at it. We still, now what I'm doing, once we get into that subject, I'm still doing something that some people think is crazy, but I think it's right in the way I'm doing it and the way we're building. And that's our new cost structure too.
I think it's a great point. The idea that, especially in kind of a gym situation, people don't realize all of the little things that go into making a business work, especially a sports related business where there's hygiene that's very much involved in that. You know, it's like, it's anything like hygiene in kids. You know what I mean? Truly. I mean, you think about all of these, you know, I'm thinking about like I-9, right? Mm-hmm. So here you have an organization that I'm sure is suffering tremendously because they are only making money when you have kids that are out playing sports. Yeah. Right. And even what they do behind the scenes, just having to make sure that they're meeting all the guidelines for engaging with kids, having to deal with parents. You know, there's so many little things behind the scenes that a lot of us don't even recognize. I appreciate you bringing that up because, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. And even like you're saying, as much as having to have enough towels.
Correct. It's a small bill. Yeah, it's the small little things that add up, and it's paper clips. It's the small things you don't think about. It's making flyers every day. It's putting out Instagram to make sure that that's done properly, paying a person to do that if you have somebody doing your social media. It's continuously trying to bring people in any form you can, and it takes time. It takes capital to do that. Word of mouth is great. Don't get me wrong. It works. It worked for us for a lot of our business, but it only carries you so far. Right. And you have to, the most important thing, as you guys know in your business, working with athletes, you have to have a good product. If people don't believe in your product and don't believe that you're doing your product or you're improving your product, and part of it is like adding equipment. So like when you want to do the right program, okay, I got to get new programs. I need to get new equipment. I need to get new music for this. I need to get new people to come in here to train the employees. So things add up. But now I don't have that overhead at the moment, and I'm sort of doing everything virtually. So it's shown me a whole different game, but it's where we're at.
So what does that look like now? You've gone virtual. What does that mean?
So I took a week off, just like I think everybody did that first week, and I was lethargic.
I don't think we had a choice.
Yeah, some people drink, some people do their things, you know, and everybody was in a confusion. But the one thing that I missed the most was working out, and I had a hard time motivating my own self at that moment. Sure. The kids are in the house, what's going on? You're trying to explain to them I have older kids, so it's lucky. I have teenagers. I couldn't imagine what they're going through, first of all. As adults, I can understand, but I don't know where this is going to take them in the future. But so we switched. I got a bunch of emails and calls from friends that were in class. Can you please do a Zoom class? And then I got another phone call. Can you do a Zoom class? I instantly went on Zoom. I learned Zoom very quickly, changing audio settings, learning how to work with it. Got my wife here and said, hey, we need to go forward with this. We're going to do classes. So I do classes every single day. I'm doing it by myself at this moment, just because we don't have any more employees at the moment. So I'm hosting classes daily, every morning, Monday through Friday at 9:30. We had up to 65 people in class. You know, before my classes capped off at 18 people. I've had people from New York, Austin, not Austin, in Texas, I just forget where, Dallas, sorry, it was Dallas, Tennessee, New York, Santa Barbara, you know, all over San Francisco, LA. And so that has grown. What I have seen the bigger box studios doing, and I understand it because they have overhead. And this is where people need to understand. They're paying for rents, or maybe they're not right now. That's up to their landlord, but they have other things to do. What we're doing is I'm doing a thing when my wife and I came up with, it's called donation-based fitness. If you can afford to donate per class, we're going to take a percentage of that, and we're going to give that to 2 different charities at this month. We're working with Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and LA Food Bank. So whatever comes into me via Venmo, how I'm getting paid right now, I'm going to donate a portion of that to those 2 charities.
Amazing.
Now, I always end my classes, if you cannot afford to pay, we still want you part of the WOLA family. And it is amazing. There are some people that cannot afford right now, and I understand, and I want them to be part of our family. And so they come in every day. They're just as good as anybody else. They're in a harder situation than everybody else. And, you know, WOLA isn't just a health and wellness company. We're a fitness lifestyle built around motivating families and individuals to stay active and move their bodies. And so I'm doing that every day. My wife and I have my degree in my group fitness training. I've written over 34 new programs. We had 36 old programs at the studio that had a lot of weight intensive. So every day I'm writing new programming. That's a full body workout with 3 circuits, 3 exercises per circuit, repeated 3 times. Some people do have weights. If you don't have weights, it's, you know, grabbing a book bag or grabbing a water bottle, grabbing a vase, or grabbing a chair. But we try to keep it as much to resistance in the cardio per circuit. And so far, it's been extremely exhilarating. One quick fact before I let you ask a question is 3% of your day, a 45-minute workout is 3% of your day. 45 minutes, that's it. Right. And so we have kids in our class, we have adults in our class, and it is running really, really well. And I'm really enjoying the new movement. It's just how do I start capitalizing more in the future? Right now, we're in a different game. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at right now. And
I have lots of questions, but we got a question from a viewer I want to make sure that I get in, because you talked just a minute ago about the big box gyms and understanding, yes, that they do have overhead. But she was asking, she said, how do you feel about gyms that are still charging full fees, even though closed? And you touched a little bit on it, but I would love if you would address it a little bit more deeply.
Yeah, in full disclosure, I cannot speak for anybody else's business. So please understand that part. There are a lot of studios out there that are charging full. I have a difficult time with it. I'm not going to lie with it. I have a difficult time with it. On that as a consumer. As a business owner, I understand because they have to pay insurance. If they're paying their rent, they have to pay rent. If they're keeping their employees on, they have to keep their employees paying them part-time, and they're not even coming into work. Then that happens at 6 weeks in. Now we're in the 7th week or 8th week. Do I need to take those benefits away from some employees? Do I have to lay off more employees? So there's a bigger picture there. Once you don't want to start paying your insurance, is your insurance going to cut you off? Are they going to make your rates higher once you get back in? Are you taking money from the PPE? Are you taking money from the Small Business Association? How are you structuring that? So I personally, and that's why I tell everybody, come to WOLA, try it out. You don't have to pay anything. I'm not trying to take your business away from your everyday, but I can guarantee you one thing. If you come in, you're going to love the WOLA family. Everything's at your own pace, and we're here to move your body. We're not here to lose weight or inches. We're here to motivate and have a good time for 45 minutes. I hope that answers the question.
I think it's beautiful. You know, it's funny. This is a little off topic, but it's a very similar dilemma, I think. You know, my son is in a parochial, you know, Jewish school in my case, and charges, you know, they're charging tuition. And yes, we are getting home, you know, we're getting school sort of, but you know, compared to 7 hours a day, I'm getting about 2.5. And it's a tough conversation to have. Like, I want my school to survive. I want his school to be there when he comes back.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's very hard. And you're absolutely right. There are a lot of people who can't afford to do the gym membership because for whatever reason, their business is not operating right now.
Yeah, I think that we're all in the same boat. A lot of people that do private schools are paying this education and not seeing some of the results that we want to see. And that's where another way I've actually tried to help out my schools, even though I feel like I'm giving more. I'm doing for my alumni at my elementary school, I'm doing a workout for all the alumni. I'm doing one for my son's high school, which is New Roads in Santa Monica. I'm doing one this Sunday for the community to get together. I'm not charging anything. I know that families are in a small confined space for majority of people, apartments, small houses, big houses, whatever it is, you need to let it out. And so what we're gonna see coming out of this from a sports standpoint is, I think we're gonna see a lot more sports psychology. I think you're gonna see a lot more mental health cases that we're gonna have to deal with. You're going to see more injuries coming up because people are not working out and they're going to try to get right back in and pick up. And that's where I am working with privates too. I'm still doing, I'm doing Zoom privates. I'm still doing the Zoom privates I'm charging for, but I'm working with families. I'm working with kids to stay in shape for their next season. And so part of that is a mind process. So it's making sure you're positive with these young kids that you're working with, making sure you understand, hey, I understand that you're in this situation right now. It's not easy for parents either. If you're feeling this way, go outside, hit the punching bag, go do a couple push-ups, let it out, don't hold it in, go scream outside, but we're here to help. And part of my job as a trainer is to help people out. And it's not the degree of mental health, but I can tell you right now, it's a lot of helping people out mentally and physically.
Let me ask a quick question about, sorry, Ara, I don't mean to be taking all the time. No, I just want to ask a quick question about, even in the private sessions, what's that engagement like? Like I said earlier, this is amazing that we can do this. Like, I'm so grateful. We're so grateful to UBN for continuing on and making this all possible. Yeah. But, to be honest with you, I'd love to be sitting across the table from you in studio, you and Ara, and in studio and engaging in that way. How are you finding that working out even one-on-one across
so it's interesting
is working for you and for your clients?
So as I'm teaching these classes, I'm actually doing the classes too. So I am, full disclosure, I'm a little more sore than I am because I haven't taken a day off in like 40 days now, or 30 plus days. And so working online is very interesting because, as you know, on Zoom, you can go into a spotlight mode where it's just me and I can just see the small ones, or we can go into the gallery view. I will stop doing my exercise to watch them, and I'm looking at form, I'm correcting form. So I feel like I'm still there. All of our music is still curated to the 45 minutes, so you're hearing the music. And I also am doing a one in-person fitness class where I'm teaching about 25 feet away in somebody's backyard with their 2 children. I'm wearing a mask. The kids are wearing a mask. We are not near each other, but I am for sure like that little boot camp coach. But I do my boot camps a little differently, where there's a lot more positivity. I'm not yelling at you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reinforce, okay, you're getting better each step of the way. And so I miss the in-person, but I do have a feeling that there are a lot of people that are not going to go back to their normal fitness routine. It is going to be a little separate or smaller classes, which is going to hurt some of these businesses, even the big boxes that have 40 or 50 people in it. And all of a sudden they're like, wait, why aren't there 40 or 50 people in this more? Well, maybe now it's going to be a bike 6 feet from each other. If you're looking like a Soul Cycle, or if you're looking at, berries, you're looking at separation of more gap, because people, until this goes away, which is not going away until we find a vaccine, it's still coming around. And so we got to listen to our doctors, and we got to move forward. I miss in person, but I'm adapting to what's reality. And it's either sit back or, step forward. And I'm trying to step forward and learn, and learning as much as I possibly can every day.
I have a question for you, Craig. We have so many people watching the show who are business owners themselves. Right. And one question in particular from one of them is, how do you maintain that business mindset? In other words, you've made the pivot. You've gone from a physical space to virtual. What is your business strategy moving forward? Now, are you looking to stay virtual? Are you looking to stay virtual now with the intention of someday going back to a physical space?
I right now virtual and looking at apps, and we also have 2 programs that we're going to be going to private schools in Los Angeles that we're in the talks right now. Those have all come to a standstill as of right now. But we have one class that's called the WOLA Performance Academy, which is for driven athlete kids or young athletes that are want to doing, and it works on your stability core, your balance, your strength, and we're going to be going to schools to teach that class every week. Hopefully multiple schools, and also a dance class that my wife implemented, which is like a TikTok dance class. So kids are doing TikToks. One of our teachers is doing it right now with my daughter and her friends every week. They make a new TikTok. They're actually going through a whole dance routine. So they're doing 4 sessions at a half hour, and they're coming with a full routine.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I'm looking at putting turf into my backyard right now. I know it's not the most business savvy, and there is restrictions on this. I'm trying to figure it out right now, but I do know a lot of fitness businesses that started in their homes. Yep. So I'm looking at adding turf into my backyard and having a limited amount of people, which would probably be about 10 people in the backyard, and online streaming the rest of the people that couldn't get in person. And so I would love to be back in a physical space, but I know I'm in a different situation right now. I need to rebuild of what I had. My most important thing that my wife and I have come up with in this last couple of weeks is the questions: how do we maintain engagement with our community? Yeah. It's virtual, it's making our classes adaptable, making sure people feel welcome, making people feel like a family. How can we expand our community was our second question. And that is, our friends in New York have told their families in New York. And so we're seeing new families come in and enjoying it. On Sundays, we do a fit family class. It's a half hour and play a lot of partnership games. And the last one for business was, how can I work on a cost structure to make people engaged and want to come do it without feeling like they're being taken advantage of? And for me, that's donation-based fitness at this moment. Going forward, I'm going to have to go back to the concept of, hey, it's going to be $20. Let's just use that number, $20 for in-person, and it's going to be $5 to buy my program for the day online. I don't know all those numbers at this moment. I'm working through it and trying to figure out as we reopen the states, California, et cetera.
Sure. Okay. I have a lot of friends and colleagues ask, during this time, how do you stay fit? How do you sort of do something with yourself and motivate yourself? So we talk a lot about that. And I remind people to just sort of keep it simple, stick to the basics. You don't have to overcomplicate it. I think whatever your sport is, whatever your specific training background happens to be, there's always basics and that foundation you can keep working on, those fundamentals you can keep going back to, making things simple for yourself. Mm-hmm. As a professional with the fitness background, can you talk a bit about what that looks like from a business standpoint, more so the mental health? Because there's so much, we talk a lot about practical tips and tools, but what does it look like for someone who's handling the stress, the anxiety of having to pivot business-wise? Can you talk about that mindset?
I would say the mindset is you just got to get up and do it. If you do not get up and do it, you're going to sit on the couch like, why didn't I do this today? Then that day is going to turn into 2 days. It's going to turn into 3 days. It's going to turn into 4 days. I reiterate this over and over. The only competition you're doing in our fitness program is the competition amongst yourself. No one else cares what you are doing or what you're going through. They're going through the same thing right now. So to get in there, you got to motivate yourself, put on your shoes, get a water bottle, and do it. What I recommend is generic exercise. So go out there, do 3 sets of jumping jacks, do them for 45 seconds, take a break. do the next exercise. The next exercise can be a plank hold. It can be a sit-up. It can be push-ups. There's different variations of push-ups, sit-ups. There's sit-up punches. There's butterfly push-ups. They're crossing here. They're on your hips. There's jumping jacks. There's cross jacks. There is plank holds, hip dips, seesaws, one leg at a time. It's calf raises. Yeah. You can do all these simple things. You just got to get out and do it. If you want to do it with me, I would love it because I'll show you all different ways of doing it. And for each of these exercises, there is progressions and there is regressions to it. So if you're doing a side plank, do you want to put your one leg in the air as a starfish or add a weight in your hand? That is progressing. If you want to regress that, you put your leg in a kickstand formation and make it a little bit easier. So the process is mentally breaking through and taking the steps to do it. Stop moping. Stop sitting there and take care of it. I'm telling you, those 3%, if you look at our post, 45 minutes is 3%. So we tell everybody when I'm taking class, I'm preparing you for the other 97% of your day.
Yeah.
So I'm preparing you to let it out. And my daughter teaches class with me on Sundays. It's so fun because she gets her energy out, even though she does a lot of other activities. Yeah. But just to get the energy out. My son, lucky enough, I have more gym equipment than most people probably. My son goes out every day without even asking me now. And he goes and uses the punching bag. He gets the weights, he asks questions, and he does it himself. He doesn't want me around because he's a teenager. Totally get it. But he's doing it and he feels better. Yeah. We feel better. And so I would just say motivate, like take that step, try it. If you don't have it, look at our Instagram, call me up. Feel free to reach out to either one of you. We're here for you. We're a community. And just to make that step. Make that step. You'll feel better.
I have a couple of questions. One I want to end with is another one from our viewer. You mentioned it earlier, but at the end, I'd love to just have you give a couple of minutes again about if people don't have equipment at home, what are the best things to use, like weights or rubber bands or whatever. But also, as you're talking, and I'm thinking about my own experience with my son, right now, it's also like 95 degrees outside. So just walking outside alone is annoying. Yeah. But, it struck me that a lot of schools are struggling. They struggle anyway with PE as it is, but, particularly his school has, and getting him out, getting him activated. Like this week, the school just came up with a solution for having a 30-minute PE class, once or twice a week, which is amazing. And so the question is, how do you motivate the kids? Like my son right now is so into his electronics because everything is electronic. His school is electronic, his everything. What's some advice you can give to parents who either are motivated but don't know how to really pull their kid off the sofa or away from it because it's become such a thing, or who, like, I'll raise my hand and say, during this, it's been a lot harder for me to get out and exercise, just, for all the reasons. I got to get him set up. It's too hot, whatever. If I'm not as motivated, what's some advice that you can give me to help keep my kid or kids of others who aren't motivated moving and excited about that?
Well, two things. One, my daughter's become a gamer. She's screaming up.
Yeah.
She never was before, and she is now. Two, I'm extremely disappointed in the PE from my point of view from my kids' schools. I love the teachers there. I love the physical education teachers. I love the schools. I do not understand why it's not every single day for 20 or 30 minutes.
I don't either. Yeah. It's not hard.
It's not hard. I'm doing it every day on Zoom. I offered my kids' school. I don't want to take anybody's jobs, but I've offered them to come into my thing, take my programs, look at what we do, just show them how we do this. Most importantly is I don't understand why they can't do it for 15 minutes. So as a parent, it's taking away that 15 minutes and taking away that remote and just saying, hey, I don't care if it's jumping jacks, it's walking around a block. You need this for your mental stability, because if you sit inside nonstop, you're not releasing anything. Breaking a sweat every day for me has been a godsend. It really has. It's been really, really fun. I work out here, and on the other side of my computer is my wife working out. So I have a workout partner every day. Sure. And I get to see her working out, which pushes me to make sure that I'm pushing all the WOLA family. So as a parent, it is great to lead by example. It's getting on a bike ride if you have a bike ride. I know you're in Texas and Austin, it's extremely hot. It's going on a bike ride. If it's going on a bike ride at nighttime, if it's going just to walk around the block, just getting outside and moving your body is going to be beneficial. If we try to force our kids to do it, it's not going to work. So that's why I wish that our schools would implement a program that was 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day, that you have to be on camera. You do simple things like jumping jacks, mountain climbers, reverse lunges, squats, side-to-side lunges, cross jacks. There are so many exercises that you do not need to use with weights. Body weight exercises are tremendously hard to do. So my thing is just saying, hey, for 15 minutes, you need to unplug and connect, which was one of our major themes. We had keep active, keep moving, and our other was unplug and connect. So basically unplug from your electronic device. That includes adults getting rid of their phones, which I admit, I am so bad right now. But I'm trying to create something, and a lot of my work has to do with being on my phone or my computer. So really decompressing for 15 minutes and saying, if it's sitting in a yoga pose, if it's taking those breaths, it's very, very important. It's extremely important. And as I said earlier, mental health is just as important as your physical health, especially now because we don't know what these kids are going through. We have no idea. As adults, we can sort of deal with it. As adults, as youth, I don't know where this is going to affect them or how it's going to affect them in the future.
By the way, I just want to add here, as adults, I don't think many of us are really dealing with it. Not that we're not dealing with it well, but I do believe that exercise is a way to release that anxiety, because I don't think anybody in the world enjoys not knowing what the future's holding. Yeah. And we don't have a crystal ball, even with all the things open, slowly opening up. There's many people who are vulnerable, who even when things open up may not be able to kind of, until there's a vaccine, go back to life as normal. So I think we can group all of us. We may all be handling it differently, kids and adults, but I don't think there's any one of us that is like going, yeah, this is easy to deal with.
No, I don't think anything across that way. It's not easy. This is just the new reality.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to stay as positive as I can to reassure my kids and my wife and my family, like, hey, we're all in this together. Right. And it's not just the United States, it's everybody. We're in
it. And I think you're a shining example. I wasn't saying it in a negative way. I just wanted to highlight that everything that you're saying for kids actually is equal to adults.
Correct.
Because some adults aren't dealing with it very well either. Right. And exercise is a way to release that energy and to get the endorphins that help you actually be happier.
Yeah, we agree.
So Craig, for those who want to join the WOLA family and find you, how do they do so?
You can just go on our Instagram at WOLA Fitness. You can see our Zoom. Our Zoom for adult classes Monday through Saturdays is Zoom ID is 115-097-007. Just think of James Bond. So 115-097-007. You can DM me for the passcode. I hand it right out. I do not publish it because, as you know, in Zoom these days, people do like to have fun and do pranks. I get it. I was a kid one day. I'm sure my teenagers are going to try to do it one time. But DM for the passcode. On Sunday, we do a half-hour class, and that is family partner-based exercises that can be done solo as well. But that's a different passcode. But just hit up WOLA Fitness. It's on Instagram, WOLA Fitness. And we will take care of everything. Well, I will, or my wife will, and get back to you right away. We'll answer all the emails, or you can go to wolafit.com and you can send an email to the team at wolafit.com, and I will respond as fast as I possibly can.
What time are your classes every day?
Every morning, 9:30 Pacific time on that's Monday through Friday. On Saturdays, it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, and on Sundays, it's at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm doing privates as well, as I said before. And we were talking about making money, and every business needs to make money. I do charge for my privates, and I do family privates as well as individual privates. One thing I do know is I've kept my rates extremely low compared to the trainer world. I'm not trying to take business from people. I'm just in a situation where I understand it's hard for people to justify payment.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they're getting a product. I know they're getting a product, and I want them to realize I'm giving back as much as I can at this moment to help you out. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want to say one thing, Craig. One of the reasons we really connected with you when we first met is because of your sharing nature and your desire to keep fitness accessible to everybody. And I just want to commend you. You know, everybody's trying very hard in these times to share, but once again, you're exhibiting the go above and beyond the call. I don't think there's any apology you have to make for even, you know, doing the donation based or even charging for private. I think, you know, the more you succeed, the more you'll help people. So I just want to point that out. And as we come to the end of the show, I want to thank you again. We always want your contribution. We'd love to have you come on whenever you want. Because I love talking to you.
I love this group. I mean, SC grads, which is the number one, and you guys have been talking sports. I mean, what else do I do?
Exactly. Native Angelinos, Trojans, and we talk sports.
Exactly.
Yes. Awesome.
So come back anytime, and I'll say for both Eira and I, we have and will continue to support WOLA and your business, and we really encourage everybody to check it out, even if you do it once. You know, just to kind of get motivated. And now this is worldwide. You are no longer just in LA. You are global, man, which is awesome. All right. Listen, we want to thank you very much. And we want to thank all of you who joined us today. Thank you for the great questions. We really appreciate you spending your time, your 3% of your day with us. We are here every other Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And you can find us on all of your favorite podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, the list goes on and on. You can also find us at thedistilleryinc.com and on our Facebook pages, Twitter feeds, and Instagram. Please, if you like anything that you hear, and our YouTube channel, by the way, you can find it under the Distillery Inc. And if you like what we do, please like us, share us, subscribe to us so we can get the words out even farther, because we love giving people like Craig and others in the athletic world a platform where they can share their experiences around sports. Thank you so much, Tony, again, for always hosting us. We're very grateful to UBN Go and continued success with your Zoom platform as it is now. And Eira.
Yes.
Thank you, as always.
Thank you, everyone.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you, Tony. Take care, you guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.